we will get some audio from YouTube. And we're live. We're live here at the PPD studios with Robert. And we have David Peace here with us. And we have a couple of announcements. It's time to join the club, folks. We're doing our biggest sale of the season. This is what we call our summer sale. We always do something special, something exciting. And you get, if you join the annual club right now, it's $359. You get a $100 gift card from Boscoya Studios. You get 500 free pixels from Easy RGB. And right now, if you're in the club, and a number of you have already taken advantage of this, and a number of you are probably sitting on the sidelines waiting to figure out what you need to get for the year. All sequences for club members, 50% off. That's the original and pro layout sequences. And then 20% off for non-members. So you don't need a code for that. You can just log into your account and go pick out any song you want. Those are the discounts. But if you join the club, you're not getting just a year of sequences. You're not getting just 500 free pixels. You're not getting just a $100 gift card from Boscoya Studios. All of that is worth something. But whenever you take into consideration the affiliate savings that we've stacked up, I just opened this one real quick, and I'll rifle through them. Here's Todd from Wizard of Wire. 20% off of all electronics. All of these will expire. None of these are long-term, like all year. They're going to expire within the next few days. Some of them go a little bit longer, maybe to the end of the month. But if you are a PPD Club member, these are some of the great deals that you guys have had or had the ability to go pick up. 12%, well, Miner started with 12% off pixels, and then he ended up changing it up to 12% off site-wide. So he threw that at me today. He extended that out. So if you're a club member, you've got a bonus offer for 12% off site-wide. There are some limits. Also, you have, I have a bunch of these things here. Sequence Solutions, 50% off sequences. The code's in the member area. Showstopper Sequences is 30% off sequences. He usually does 10, but he's got you 30 now. SFL Designs for all of your 3D printed needs. He's doing a 20% off over a $100 order. You have Jason from RGB to go, $25 pixel controllers at Duo to go. Pixel Paradise doing his baby goat tree. It's an updated design. They're fantastic. He's doing 30% off. He just threw this at me yesterday, so this one runs a little longer than the others. You should totally take advantage of this. Matos Designs. If you missed this, terrible that you missed this. This was a $130 gift card. It was only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You missed that one, but Matos Designs did another sale. They have a 30% off code that is in the PPD website, and there's a web page with those items that you can get for 30% off just for club members. Culp lights, a couple different Culp offers, 10% off the Pocket Beagle and 12% off the K16AB and the K32AB. Carl from Jingle Bumpers did an exclusive just for the club members, 40% off. I guarantee if you will have a good joke, laugh, you'll chuckle a little bit if you go look at the code that is on the website for that sale. Bob over at holidaylighting.shop is doing an exclusive 12% off site-wide. There are some limits for this one as well. Our own David Peace, who's here, he can talk about this amazing deal, a free Pixel 2 P10 controller, like a $60 value with a $200 minimum order from Experience Lights and a 10% off. Free USPS shipping, I think is what he said. And there are some exclusions, but this is just for PPD Club members. Kevin Dunn, Demented Elf, 20% off his $50 package. It's a great deal. And so there's no better time to join the club than right now. And these deals aren't lasting. There is one more day. So with that, I am going to turn this back over I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to let David pop in here because David, let me close this up and get the screen down here. David, are you there?
I am.
You turn your camera on, and I'm gonna feature you once again. So, share screen. There we go. I think you're good to go. Everybody, this is David Peace from Experience Lights. He is one of our 100% trusted affiliates at PPD. He always takes care of you guys, and not just because it's PPD, but because it's David, and David is a fantastic business owner and operator. So, David, you have something to tell us. I'm going to be quiet now and let you take it away from here, okay?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. As I said, I don't know if Clyde mentioned it. I do have fairly short time frame. Have some family stuff I need to take care of. But before I started, I wanted to share my screen real quick, and hopefully it works. This is what you guys missed out on at the South Carolina Mini. This was a video that Russell took of Jordan getting harassed by someone for money, and eventually he bought her ice cream. So South Carolina is the only Mini where your life is actually in danger. We went to Obama Gas, and it was very dangerous from On Patrol Live. Anyways, I digress. So I wanted to talk quickly about what is coming next for Genius. So if you guys saw, I made a post a little bit ago about kind of what's coming next for Genius, and I wanted to use this to just kind of talk about what those changes are in Genius, and then take some questions if you guys had any, just to see where things are going. So the number one thing is, like I said in the post, is that e-fuses are being retired entirely. We introduced them back in 2023, and they have been fine, but they do have a little bit of finickiness to them. They are very, very sensitive. And there were some times when things, especially when they were non-standard pixel types like seeds or gumdrops or things like that, where e-fuses could trip when you first power on because there's an initial current spike. There's always ways to mitigate things like this, but it ended up being to the point where the annoyance of that, and when I say that, the number of reported issues has been remarkably low. But as I tell people, I don't like to ever respond to a question with "I don't know." So when somebody asks, "Why is this e-fuse tripping when it shouldn't be?" I don't like to answer I don't like to answer with "I don't know." So as I went back to evaluating what is the value of the e-fuse and why are we using them, it really came down to safety. Shutting off power when we need to shut off power, when the data is not coming in, when the show is not going on. And that got me to the question of, well, do we really need per port on-off power control, or can you just manage this from the bank level? If you guys have seen the new Your Pixel Store board that we made for Miner, the Vivid 8-port controller, it is really kind of packed with features. It's got, you can use an external antenna. It's got 4 long-range ports. It's got 2 power injection ports. It's got 8 local pixel ports and a oversized OLED. Really, really neat design. And these are available now, by the way, on Your Pixel Store. Just throwing that out there. He has them in stock, and they are ready to go. What's different about this from my other boards is that these have power control. So if you just look at this power input, you can see here it has the standard voltage in and ground terminals, but there's this extra terminal over here, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Now, if you ignore the third, I'm backwards on my video here. If you ignore the third terminal for a moment, the standard behavior of this is going to be that you are able to, via the OLED, turn off the power to all of the ports or on all of the ports. And what that does is turn off the ground so that you have no, does the missing screw cost extra? Yes, it does. $100 extra. Yeah, so it will shut off the ground, cutting off power to the outputs. And if you notice this little guy under here, we have these high current MOSFETs that are controlling the power to the entire bank. So that's why I call these bank power control. And your Pixel Store's Vid controller is the first one to have that. And then you also have this third terminal, which is an additional ground. And what this is a bypass, meaning if for whatever reason you don't want software-based control of your outputs, you can actually just bridge a wire from the two grounds and it bypasses that MOSFET entirely, which means that the power is going to be just like any standard controller in that they're going to be powered constantly. So that is the optional way to override the software-based power control through that MOSFET. You can override it. Okay, so we took that concept and moved it over to the Pro line of Genius controllers. So again, there is no more eFuses. If you look at the back, all the eFuses are gone. You also notice that there is no more thick solder traces replaced with thicker copper and thicker traces on the front and the back. So reverting back to the auto resetting fuses, we have had these since the beginning, since 2022, and we've had literally zero issues, zero complaints with these auto resetting fuses. And so that is something that we are, very, very confident and very happy with the performance of those the auto resetting fuses. If you're not familiar with what these auto resetting fuses do, if the fuse does trip, you just pull the pigtail and then reattach the pigtail, and then it resets the fuse, so you don't have to replace a physical fuse. And it's also a very space-saving design as well. But what you'll notice with these new boards, with the new Pro boards, is that there's these new spade terminals. These spade terminals are optional, and they are the equivalent of this third terminal here, which is the ground bypass. So on those terminals, what you're going to see is a little LED, and that LED is a blue LED that signifies that bank has power. And in the case of the 16-port controller, there's two banks of 8. So there's two separate power-controlled banks, where in the case of the 32-port controller, there is 4 individual banks of 8 that can be controlled. Now, there's only one human other than myself that has one of these. Russell McFarland was the lucky winner to get this because I had them at the South Carolina Mini. And so he's going to be the first person to try it out. So the extra spade terminal, just like on the Vivid controller, that third screw terminal is optional, and it's only if you want to bypass the software-based power control. So all of the Pro controllers are going to come with 2 for the 16 or 4 of the 32 of these little jumpers. And if you want to bypass the software-based power control, you just slide that on there, attach that to the power supply to ground, and you will not have software-based power control. It will bypass that MOSFET entirely and provide power constantly like a standard controller. The power control is going to be configurable it is configurable either through the OLED menu or it is also rules-based. The 2 rules are you can set a schedule to say turn off power at these certain times, because the Pro 16 and the Pro 32 both have RTCs, and that scheduling is built into the new firmware. It will also be configurable to say to cut the power when the data signal drops. And what that means is if there's no data signal coming in, for example, there's no DDP packets, or all of the packets that are coming in are zeros or blank for a certain period of time. And that's configurable. The default, I think, is 3 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. So if there's no data that comes in for a period of time, it will cut power. Both of those things are configurable. You can do it on the schedule, or you can do it on the no data coming in configuration. And I think that is, that's it on the updates. All of the All of the new 2025 boards are currently being produced. The 32-port controller also does not have the solder buildup on the back anymore, so it's much cleaner. Actually, in fact, there's no components on the back anymore of the 32. You can see here, this has the same design on the 32, where it has the spade connectors, which can be optionally bridged to ground if you want that power to be on always. And each of those have a little blue LED to signify that power is active. So those are being produced now. Those are being, so they will be in stock shortly, both by myself and your Pixel Store and above AVL, David Henry. And so you'll be able to get it from any of them. I actually prefer you buy from my partners, quite frankly, because I love Miner and David Henry. They've been very, very good friends, and they do awesome stuff for the community as well. So with that, I probably have to hop off here in about 10 minutes, so I wanted to open it up for some questions. Before I open it up for questions, just before I forget, because I know that Rob is going to say, hey, do you have a special coupon code for the people on the Zoom call? And I pre-made it. So I'm only going to say it once. It's only good for 1 hour.
So do we let people know on YouTube? Do we tell them that?
Well, I'm not going to have you turn it off and turn it back on.
I can mute them. It's easy. Yeah, it's just a mute button for you.
Okay,
for them.
Mute it for everybody else except for who's on the call.
Well, I can do it for Facebook, Rob. I don't think Rob can do that.
I'm not too concerned with it.
Okay.
But bottom line is, I saw that Miner was doing 12%, and it is also Clyde's birthday. So the coupon code is Clyde is old. Mm-hmm. And it is good for 13% off, but only for 1 hour. So,
and to be clear, Clyde is not old, but that's another 30 years from now. Okay.
Sure. That is the coupon code. So with that, I will open it up for questions. I see there's a couple questions in the chat. So I will go top down. What is the advantage of cutting power to ports or banks to just put a smart outlet and program to come on the entire controller? The benefit is that you still have access to your controller. So when you use a smart outlet, your controller is no longer accessible via the network, via FPP, anything. So the idea is you can cut power to all of your Pixel ports. None of them have any power, but yet you can still communicate with your controller over the network. So it is better to do it this way than with a smart outlet. That way you don't lose access to your machine. The other thing that I wanted to mention...
If you have questions for David, since his time is limited, please put them in chat. Don't wait for me to unmute you, because I just think that's going to carry a longer conversation, and then David can get to the point a lot quicker. So please put all your questions in chat.
I appreciate that. Thank you. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I think that it's really important because it's relevant here, is somebody was talking about, I won't say who, but a wire had burned through and their fuse did not trip. And if you've ever seen any of the videos out there about, the low amount of current that that actually it takes to start a fire, it's actually very minimal. You can do it. You just need an arc and the right conditions to start a fire. What is a common misconception is that the fuse is there to protect your lights, to protect your house, to protect everything. It is not. The fuse is there to protect the board. There is no way to protect against the immense amount of possibilities of what could happen downstream from that wire. The board is built to certain specifications. The board is built to handle a certain amount of current. The traces are built to certain specifications. The fuse is meant to protect the board. The fuse is not meant to protect things downstream. Now, does it help? Yes, it does help, but that does not prevent fires. It does not. So the turning off the power to the power ports actually does prevent issues that could happen in the middle of the night, for instance, when power is still running through those. Because if the power is off, then then you're not going to be able to do any arcing or bridging or any shorts like that might be dangerous. So just important to keep in mind that the fuse does not protect anything, or I should say very minimally protects things outside of the board. The fuse is meant to protect the board. So. All right, our connector wires 12 AWG or 10 AWG? Neither, actually, they are 14. And you might ask yourself, that is a little bit small. It is not small. These are silicone wire. They actually can have a higher current carrying capacity. If that was not your question, I apologize. But yeah, if you're using silicone wire, fun tip, those actually have a higher current rating than standard wire. Any reason the Genius boards don't have a LAN in-out port for daisy chaining boards? Ooh, that is a great question. I don't have it right in front of me. So the long and short of it is, when we first came out with Genius, there was an immense part shortage. This was actually the reason we made Genius. Part of it was to build it on components that were readily available. One of the components that was not available was a network switch chip. Now, had it been available, I probably still wouldn't have done it, because as I'm diving into it now, which is building one and experimenting it, they are actually quite complicated. So it's coming. It is not going to be this year, but it is something that I want to add. It is something that I'm learning how to do. I don't know how to do it. So that is going to be coming. Yeah. Are the grounds either or, meaning do we connect one or the other or both? So if you're talking about the Vivid, if you want to bypass the software control, you're going to be doing both, because this is the power ground to the board. This is the power ground to all of the outputs. Now, if you just do the power ground to the board, sorry, Chris, if you just do power grounds to the board, then the software will be in charge of turning on and off power to this power bank via this MOSFET. If you want to just say, hey, I always want power, you're basically, hot wiring this ground to be tied also to this other ground. So you would just jumper those together. So you need both in that case. Now it's the same thing with the new 16 and 32s. So you're still going to be connecting these two grounds up to your power supply, because that is going to be the grounds to your board. But the grounds here are for bypassing the software-based power control. So that gives you the ability to, so again, optional, but it's either just the ground that is supplied or also with the adapter to bypass. Are boards only on YPS? They're on, well, the 2025 versions are on neither, because neither Miner nor I have received the new ones. They are almost done, if not done. Going to be on the way here shortly. So those will be available soon. I want to say soon as in like 2 weeks-ish. Yeah, those will be available on your Pixel Store website. I know he has some really awesome ready-to-run kits. Ready-to-run end kits for them. So definitely check those out. And they'll be available on our website as well. Hi, David. What is the status of the mobile app? Oh, you jerk. We won't be talking about that right now. Show it again, please. Will the pro receivers be getting this update as well? No. So the pro receivers don't have a clock, so they don't have the ability to turn themselves off now, and they also don't have two-way communication. So that is something that will just be on the controllers. And Russell, yes, Russell can answer, and he will be 70%. Which setting do you recommend for best? Ground only or using the bypass? Ground only. have the peace of mind to know that, usually like for commercial things, maybe they have decor that's always on and they're like, hey, I don't want the software to talk. I don't even want to worry about configuring the software. I just want it on. It is a hard bypass, meaning there's no software involved at all. You're literally hot wiring the grounds together. And I wanted that as a peace of mind thing for people so that they can say, hey, look, I don't even want to worry about the software. I just want this on. So I would say 98% of the cases, you're going to want to just keep the one ground. And then unless you have a use case for it, it's there. So everybody's going to have these. They're going to ship with every single one, but it's going to be entirely optional if you want to use them. So no 13 alpha new boards. No, the boards aren't even in stock yet. So I try to avoid pre-sales as much as possible. We do have back orders sometimes, but I've been trying to just put things on the site once they're available and ready to go. For the record, my fire started 15 minutes after the show ended for the night. Yeah, and Chris, in the future, throwing a lit cigarette is probably not a good idea to start a fire. So sorry, inside joke. So that is it. Look at that. It's 3 minutes till 8. So by the way, I want to talk about one other thing. If you go on the website, you'll notice that all of the receivers are out of stock. They are not actually out of stock. In fact, I just received a very large number of boards. A comical amount of boards. And if you were so lucky to be one of those chosen few in the first couple of weeks that received them, and you received an email from me saying that you were going to get new ones. The receivers that we received, no pun intended, have unfortunately, bad chip on them. The factory, it's normally a Texas Instrument part. Texas Instruments no longer creates them. They contracted out and I will preface this with, I fact-checked this because it was coming from my factory and make sure it was actually true what they were telling me. But they no longer make the chip and they outsource it to new fabs, and these are authorized fabs and they are literally everywhere. Mouser, LCS, all these other chip producers, if you go where you find this chip, it is now selling this new chip from this new fab, and the silicon is not the same. It is very different, and it does not function. So I have a massive amount of parts that I'm sending back to China right now. I'm also trying to get some reworked here in the United States. There's something on the lines of the 1,500 boards that I am in the process of. If you wanted to use that code, you certainly can. Those items are available in back order. I do expect to get the boards back, or at least some of that stock back, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I'm being cautious by saying 4 weeks. I hope it doesn't take that long, but those will be back in stock shortly once they find this old part. Yeah, so that was regrettable. And if you do have receivers and you did not see this email, go check your email. If you received a receiver with like a 2-3 week period and your receiver says 2025 on it, you need to shoot me an email because it will not work. That is the unfortunate. All right.
Man, the questions keep piling up. Any plans to go on a bare bones bargain board such as the Baldric?
So the thing about those boards are they are bare bones for a reason, right? They have fewer features and fewer ability to do fewer things. I always tell people when they ask this, because I do get asked a lot, is the majority of the cost of this board is right here. It is not here. So, yes, I could do a smaller board. Is it going to be cheap or, in that same ballpark of price? No, it's not. Could I do something that is very, very simple and bare bones like those? Yes, but you already have those. The difference about Genius, and this is what I always tell people, and it sometimes feel like I'm, preaching a little bit too much, but I don't compete on price. I try to make as easy to use product as possible. So when I'm sourcing components, when I'm saying, should I add this, should I not add this? I actually never think, oh, that's going to be too expensive. I try to like not even think about that as I'm building out a board. I'm asking myself, is this going to make the product easier to use? Is this going to make the product better? So it's just, unfortunately, how it's just my methodology on how I make things, how I build things. I try to make things good and easy and fast, and dummy proof as much as possible. That's my goal, and not necessarily bargain.
Dale's asking any firmware upgrades.
Yes, yes.
That's great news.
So yeah, so the entire firmware has been rewritten from the ground up. There is some very, very exciting announcements coming up that I cannot talk about right now. They are very, very cool. And these updates support that. So those will be coming. There's going to be hopefully an announcement in the next month or so, would be my hope. And then I can talk more about that. But yes, there will be a pretty sizable.
So, just a little jut in with a side question regarding that. Are we talking all boards are seeing this firmware update? All boards? 2020?
Controllers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive. That'll be exciting. So you'll have to come back on and visit us and go through some
For
of those
sure.
updates.
For sure. Yeah.
Not that you need to announce it tonight, but are you thinking like
unfortunately.
No, that's fine. Are you thinking like a month or 2 months? Like September?
It's not up to me. If it was up to me,
fair enough.
I would announce it right now.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so I will have to wait. I don't know. I hope it's in the next month or so. But yes, it will be coming soon.
Scott wants to know if he can stack the codes. I don't know if you can stack codes.
You cannot stack codes. No. Any plans to maybe decorate your office? No, you jerk. Do it right. Do it right. Any plans to add more long range RD4 ports? Genius only has 2 and others have 4. So a lot, as I just said, right? The question is not necessarily can I. Adding more ports is not actually that more expensive. It really comes down mostly in this case to what you're describing, to board space. Mm-hmm. So yes, I got some little extra real estate on the Vivid, so we have 4 on that. However, if you look at things like the Pro 16, there's not really room there. Yeah. If you look at the standard 16, there's not really room there. Can I increase the footprint? Yes. And then Ken will be calling me and really, really pissed off because all his mounting plates won't work. Well, ask me how I know that.
You move one mounting hole, and you've just upset every controller pre-builder. You've put them in a bind. No, I understand that. No, it's tough. It's tough to leave things out, and it's tough to make changes. But I think what you've done is you've done a very good job at balancing what's necessary, and for the price, and for the ability to pull it off over multiple products. So there's value in being able to pull together your board and put it out there and make it simple, so that it's an easy addition instead of being stressed out when putting it out. So,
well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be a broken record here, but I always tell people there's 2 customers that are my primary customer. There's the person that's new, and there's the commercial customer. Commercial makes up about 70+% of my business. And the reason those 2 customers are very similar or very alike, they just want things to work. I often tell people if you're soldering wires, you should go get a Culp. Because I'm a horrible salesman. Because yes, the Culps are extremely powerful. You can do a ton of stuff with them. You can also get yourself into a lot of trouble, but you can do a ton of things with those. Whereas Genius, yes, we do limit the feature set, and that is purposeful to try to keep it simple, right? It's a controller to control lights.
And so we have this conversation all the time, not to draw this out, but we have this conversation quite frequently, and it always revolves around which controller is better. I think the AI and PPU just posted that today. And there were a lot of Genius, there were a lot of Culp, there were a lot of Falcon, there were a lot of there's so much to compete with, and there's so much to look at whenever you are finding out where you fit in, and whenever you're doing your show, whenever you're doing your setup, what is it that you value? And you have to have a specific, when you have specific values, it makes the decision to buy one over another way easier. So for example, I love the simplicity of dialing into the controller. Whether we have to do that much anymore or not, just uploading to it should fix 95% of the issues, and as long as you can connect to it, you're probably going to be good to go. That's pretty much any controller, but whenever it's easy to do it, or you have an issue and you can just take your cell phone and you can go scan your QR code that's on your OLED and be able to dial into the controller right there. That's a huge help, and that's something that other controllers don't seem to have. So there's a lot. Whenever you guys are out there considering what you're going to use and what you need in a controller, that's what you need to think about whenever you're making your decisions. So, David, I don't want to draw this out.
Yeah, so one other thing I just wanted to mention, just talking about differentiation. One other thing that I don't talk too much about, but it's something that I'm very proud of, is we do have an official 2-year warranty, fix or replace, for all of our stuff. That's on our website if you want to take a look. And I try to provide very, very good support. My personal goal, and I don't make any promises because I can never, say this is always going to be the case, but my personal goal is to respond to emails within 4 hours. I don't always hit that, but I definitely do try. You will not, I'm not going to leave people hanging. I try to help people and try to get everything up and running as much as possible. So I do pride myself on support and getting people up and running and blinky flashy.
All right. David, it has been fantastic having you. Thank you I know you wanted to get out of here a little bit earlier, but you stuck it out for a little bit more for us. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Yep. It's great always having you guys. If you have any questions, what I would suggest is let's start something in PPU about in the Facebook group, or if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, just put it in chat. We'll see if we can answer the questions, or we'll get them back to David and see if he can give us an answer. But
well, you got Russell, you got Jordan Sharp in there. He's also a resident expert. You got a lot of experts in here.
So, I can speak to you reaching out and helping whenever, like last year, I had my challenges with the firmware, and it was bugging out, and you walked me through it. We figured it out. We figured out what the problem was, and it was odd, but we figured it out. So that's the way things go. Like this is a hobby, and you're going to have trouble. And so, but all of the other boards I had just one with a little bamboozle. Okay, that's what happens. So, but welcome to the hobby. Welcome to the fun, but enjoy it while you can, because the longer we get down the road with this, the more you find that you want to help people, just like David has here tonight, like getting other people their boards and getting things set up for them and having it make it easier for them. So, David, thank you as always.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right, see you guys.
All right, we'll see you later, David. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, YouTube. Let me go and here, and Facebook, if you're watching, we're going to move on to our open mic night session. You're welcome to stick around, join us. If you have questions, we're going to open up the microphone. So, or you can put it in chat. And if you have questions, like it's August, it's the beginning. We're in the middle of August, and if you're getting to the point where I'm going to start having questions, I'm getting emails already about certain things, and I am directing people and I'm helping people, and that's what we do every Tuesday night. You have Robert and I are here. You have a room full of people that are always willing to help, and that's what we're here for. So YouTube, Facebook, thanks for joining us. If you want to join us in the room, go to pixelprodisplays.com, click on the webinar page, and join the webinar link. You're welcome to join us here, and we will catch you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye for now.